So there's an argument to be made, I think anyway, that you should be able to dress however you want to dress and not get unwanted attention. But that's just not the reality, right? We know that's not how it actually unfolds. If you wear something that is eye-catching or a little bit provocative, you're probably going to get stared at. You may have things said to you that make you uncomfortable, and you may actually feel unsafe. Well, there's a new TikTok trend that is shedding light on that and also aiming to alleviate some of that, I would say. It's a social media trend with over 14.5 million views. The term is subway shirts. So we're talking about loose, baggy shirts that are worn over outfits to avoid being harassed on the metro. Because for some strange reason, that does seem to be where the harassment happens, right? I've been taking public transit more than usual lately, and it is a bit of an adventure, shall we say, no matter what you're wearing. But certainly if you're dressed in anything, even remotely provocative, you're going to get some unwanted attention. Now, Marie-Emmanuelle Jeunesse is a feminist TikToker. She shares an account with her sister called The Cis Official, and they have over 350,000 followers. We have spoken once before. Marie-Emmanuelle, nice to talk to you again.
Hi, Natasha. Nice to talk to you.
When we last spoke, it was about the safety symbol, where you fold your thumb in and then fold your four other fingers over the thumb to indicate that you're in trouble, that you need some help. Did I describe that properly?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
And so this is your MO. This is kind of what you guys do. You try to make sure that women in particular feel safe and have the means by which to kind of make things safer. So tell us about this trend and how did it get started?
Yes. So my sister and I haven't actually done this trend on our TikTok, but we are seeing a lot of women who are, telling other women to cover up and to, in order, to avoid harassment on the train, on the subway, or any public transport, and especially at night. So this trend is where women are encouraging each other to wear these so-called subway shirts to cover up their outfits. So whether that's after a night out or even just coming back from the gym or wherever they were, in order to feel a little bit safer when they're on public transport. So
how do you heard me talking about it off the top. I think that, okay, it might help alleviate some of the problem by putting a baggy shirt over an outfit that might be somewhat provocative. I don't even like the word provocative because, again, I feel like you should be able to wear whatever you want to wear. And I feel like education is really at the heart of this, that we need to teach people to respect people no matter what they're wearing. So what's your take on this, Marie-Emmanuelle? How do you feel about this TikTok trend?
Well, I feel like, I think with TikTok, it's always great that we're seeing that, these trends kind of help other people who might not have thought of these ideas, and maybe, in the instant, it can help some women to feel safer. But I think the issue at heart is not, the problem isn't what women are wearing, but I think it's the culture we live in and how we continue to see that women have to change their appearances or even their lives to make sure that they don't get harassed, that they, that we're putting once again pressure on the wrong end, where we continue to, as a society, be victim blaming, where it shouldn't be women's responsibility to change who they are, to change their clothes, to change, even their attitude in order to feel safer. And I think we also see that, an example that I know is that back in the 19th century, there were self-defense gloves that were sold in the UK where, they were normal gloves, leather gloves, but they had metal claws at the end, so that women would, sort of feel safer when they were walking alone or something like that. And so we see that, 200 years later, women still don't feel safe. And I think that's the issue that we're seeing, is not whether you have, a knife on you or that you can try to wear a subway shirt or things like that. It's because it's deeply rooted in our society that women get catcalled or harassed because they're women.
And that somehow you're invoking, you're bringing that upon yourself by dressing in a way that makes men behave, and it shouldn't, I guess I shouldn't just limit it to men, but makes people behave that way towards you and react. That whole idea that if you wear a short skirt, somehow you're asking for it. Yes,
exactly. And we know that between 97 and 99% of women have experienced street harassment, and that can be, that can range from being followed, being catcalled, asked for kisses, telling them to smile, or even, witnessing flashing. And I think that it's really it's really this global issue, and it's not just happening in Quebec or in Montreal in Canada. It's everywhere, and I think that's why we're seeing this trend globally on TikTok. Is that still, once again, like you said, with the hand signal for abuse, women are always trying to find these different ways to feel safer. But sexual harassment and harassment on public transport, they're violations of human rights. And I think that we have to go back to considering, why have we not changed the education of our society, and why do we still continue to accept that the responsibility should always be on women.
They're like victim shaming it's just utterly pointless. It gets us nowhere. What do you think about the idea? Because this is specifically about sexual harassment on the metro, on the subway system in different cities. What do you think about designating cars, that are only? And again, it's funny. I was going to say only for women, but I feel like we should almost take gender out of it at this point, because for sure there are trans people being harassed for what they're wearing. For sure there are completely straight people, whatever their situation might be, but that are being men or women or gender fluid, that are being harassed for what they're wearing. So I don't know that any of those sort of Band-Aid solutions are really going to help the problem in the grand scheme of things in the long term. What do you think?
Yeah, no, exactly. But I agree with you. And I think that, as I said, and as you said, it's a Band-Aid solution. And I think maybe sometimes it can work one time where you feel safer, or it can help. But I think the bigger problem that we're seeing is we have to also, as a society, collectively help women. So, for example, if bystanders and witnesses have a huge role to play in these situations, especially other men, where, they're taken more seriously by men who are harassing than if it was another woman helping. So, most of the men are good guys and they're not harassing, but we need them to take a stand. And when they witness something like this, they need to intervene whenever it's possible, whenever it's safe, to continue to stop these events from occurring. And I think that's even better than these Band-Aids solutions that fall once again on women.
Yeah, because a baggy T-shirt isn't really going to cut it. I love that. You see something, say something. Thank you so much for your time, Marie-Emmanuelle.
Thank you, Natasha.
That is Marie-Emmanuelle Jeunesse, a feminist TikToker. You can follow her on the Cis Official.